For those joining us today, please ensure your microphone and video are switched off and remain silenced for the remaining of the ceremony. Thank you for being here with us today.
To what extent? I guess I was like, I don't know what to say, because I'd be like, I'm a cadet at Central Washington, but I wouldn't be here if I wasn't a cadet at Central Washington.
I'm Cadet Edgar Hernandez.
My name is Cadet Jared Cloud.
I'm Mario Jesse Garcia.
And I will be commissioning as an active duty second lieutenant in the Ordnance Corps.
And I will commission into the active duty infantry.
I'll be commissioning into the Army National Guard and to the infantry and to the one of the 161 Marine infantry.
What initially brought me to Central was I applied for the national scholarship, and my packet got picked up by Mr. Vandenhoek, who made contact with me the summer after my senior year. So then I started looking more into Central, and the more I talked with Mr. B, the more I was convinced that Central was the spot for me. So I accepted my ROTC scholarship here at Central. Honestly, I accepted it before I came up to visit. So the first time I was on campus, I was already signed as a enrolled student. It was my brief and tour through ROTC, and that's why I chose Central.
So as a high school senior, I was doing a lot of research into what university I wanted to go to. I knew that I wanted to try out ROTC, and I was doing some research here at the ROTC program here at Central, and I emailed Mr. Vandenhoek, and he gave me all the information I wanted and asked for, and now I'm here. Thanks to Mr. Vandenhoek.
Well, you know, I haven't lived in Washington my whole life. I chose Central because it was actually part of a high school trip out into a lot of the colleges in the state. And I grew up in a rural area in California, right? So as soon as I kind of saw Central, I was like, wow, it's really just like a little slice of home for me, especially being so far away. So that's what first drew me in. And then additionally, on top of that, I looked into all the business certificates and how accredited it was. So that was another big thing. And then a quarter in, I found ROTC, and ever since then, you know, it's been, I have never regretted the choice since that. But it's been a journey.
Coming into ROTC, I had no knowledge of the military at all. I don't have any family history of the military. So this was definitely something new. I was definitely in a new environment.
What I had heard about Central, so my older brother did ROTC at University of Portland, and he was on the Ranger Challenge team. And so he basically told me that they're always first on the ruck, which I really like.
I joined ROTC because a lot of the time going into school, I got a lot of my scholarships and grants because I came from a lower income family. And that worked, but I didn't really like going through school knowing that it was kind of more of a charity thing. I wanted to kind of provide my own way through it instead of having to kind of rely on coming from a poorer background.
I liked Central's sort of like hard work ethic, and if we're going to do something, we're going to do it to the best of our abilities and outperform the competition.
But through the years, I've gained the knowledge. I've definitely grown as a leader for sure. And I feel a lot more developed than when I first came.
So the Army, for one, and then ROTC, two, gave me a way to not only work my way through, but really kind of feel like I earned what I was putting myself into.
So the most defining moment in my ROTC career was definitely my first spring FTX as a freshman. It was tough. It was, at the time, probably the toughest thing I had ever done. And it felt so rewarding at the end, going through all of that. It was physically and mentally demanding. I felt like I had grown with my squad mates, and it just felt super rewarding at the end when you were done with it. And at the end of it, I felt like this was definitely something I wanted to do and continue with.
I feel like it definitely comes in phases. You know, it was cool to see start as a freshman and see kind of the progression of knowledge and realization that comes with, you know, each step up in the program. You know, because at MS1, you kind of just show up in the right place in the right uniform and do what you're told. And then your 2 year, you move up to the team leader position. So you get to tell the MS1s, you know, what right looks like, what wrong looks like. And then your 3 year, you kind of get thrown in the fire. And so that's when you take over the PL, PSG role. And that's really where, in my mind, a lot of like the long-term learning took place. That's how you lead soldiers. You learn soldier, like your TLPs and troop care and that sort of stuff.
Because I remember me coming in from MS1, seeing the MS4s and a few MS5s, and kind of how they stood out. You know, a lot of confidence and a lot of like knowledgeability just about them. So to be able to see to be that myself for the MS1s and some of the lower ones, both like 2s and 3s, I feel like that's a key aspect to it as well.
So like defining moment, I thought that was really cool. Being at camp with different programs and being able to solve sort of what was seemed as complex problems. It was cool to have that skill set to like help and inform the other people in my platoon at camp and kind of lead us towards the right direction.
I would say it would be the Ranger Challenge participation I took into. It was that year especially, I believe it was 2019. Really worked year in general. So that was a lot. I just remember waking up a lot of the mornings and especially the first one, carrying that telephone pole down what was a mile or so. So not the most pleasant time, but when you look back into it, was one of the more defining moments of ROTC. My best advice, always to stay positive. You know, life's going to throw everything at you, and you can choose to let that bother you, or you can choose to continue to be positive and kind of push through it. Really great quote I love from a Army chaplain. Pain is inevitable. You're going to go through rough patches no matter what. However, suffering is optional. You can choose to really kind of focus on the suck part of it rather than, you know, to focus on the bright parts. You know, you're going to get through it no matter what. You may as well come through it with a smile.
ROTC is definitely tough. It's definitely tough. It will challenge you physically, mentally, emotionally, academically. It will challenge you. But at the end of all those hardships and experiences that you go through, it will also develop you as a leader. It'll develop your character. And at the end, it's just all worth it.
I don't know, I guess to be open-minded, right? So you definitely going to hear a lot of different aspects of what it means to lead others, because that's what we do in ROTC, right? We build leaders to be future officers. And so take all that information that everyone wants to give you, and everyone has a different way of you know, we call it like skin in the cat. There's 1,000 different ways to do it. But be true to yourself, right? Know your type of leadership, but take the advice and the critiques, especially the critiques, take those and use those to, you know, better prepare yourself for the future. But don't stray away too far from who you are. Major Wood, you know, he made it very clear that he did it the way that he did it, right? He was the same Major Wood day in, day out. But he still showed us that it was, you know, the lessons that he learned, he took them and he refined them to, you know, still be his own leader in his own way. So have an open mind and listen to what people have to tell you, but stay true to yourself.
The best part about being an ROTC would be the people, the cohort. You know, you don't really get this type of community around college in general. You know, you have a lot of classes that meet, you know, for the quarter, and then after that, you really don't see those people too much anymore.
But I really do enjoy the people that I met in ROTC. I did sports all the way through high school, and that was kind of my way with connecting people. If you're on a sports team, it's like you have that in common. You can kind of build your friendship and your relationship from that point forward. But being in ROTC gives you that sort of baseline, you know, similarity that you can push forward to. So everyone that's in the program it's an easy way to start a conversation of, you know, making you know why they're here. And so you push further into that question and find out more about that person, and you end up meeting a lot of really great people.
Honestly, the biggest influence that I had here in ROTC and the biggest mentor I had was my good friend, Cadet Demchuk, who unfortunately passed away during his time here. I joined his squad as a freshman, and from there. He took me under his wing, taught me everything I know, taught me all his knowledge, and he really pushed me to kind of push myself to limits, especially like Spring FTX when I was hurting. He comforted me, and I really have to say that Cadet Demchuk is probably the biggest influence that I've had here in ROTC.
Oh, I met my best friend Sam. You know, it was a long time ago, but we were freshmen, and yeah, like it was just like the people that you meet. That was like the joke. And if you were ever around when Hudson and I were together, you know for sure that Hudson and I were two peas in a pod.
You have people in your major, which you're kind of acquainted with, but you know, again, it's more of a light friendship to like more of an acquaintance. With ROTC, I felt like I had a lot more of a reliable network of people that I knew me, and I knew that would be able to, you know, kind of back me up with anything emotionally, you know, or education-wise, that any problems with those two that might come up.
Now Major Wood, Major McBride, they're really great influences, and then the past cadre being Lieutenant Colonel Atkins and Master Sergeant Pickrell. It was good to see the different leadership aspects that went through, and then now in my later years with my MS5, sort of delegating leadership and you know helping out where I can. I've definitely appreciated. I feel like Master Sergeant. I talk a lot more with Master Sergeant these days, and Captain Imperial and Captain Page. So I really appreciate the lessons that they've been able to teach me and help me work through those sort of things.
I also want to give thanks to my family and my mom especially. My mom was my biggest supporter. She was a little iffy about me joining the program, but eventually I gained her support, and now she absolutely loves it and is 100% on board with it. Same with my family. You know, they were supporting me the entire time that I was here, so I got to give thanks to them.
First off, I want to thank my STARS advisor, Caitlin Bennett. She was one of the first people I had actually encountered coming into Central. She was integral in like me staying focused and, you know, keeping my head on straight, especially, you know, coming into the crazy world, which is college. Secondly, I want to thank Mr. Vandenhoek. You know, he puts up with a lot, and I can imagine, especially freshman, he not knowing anything and trying to, you know, sound smart while talking to him was definitely a lot to go through. So I definitely appreciate his patience and all the work he puts in. You know, and then off of education, I want to thank my parents. You know, they didn't go to college themselves, but they've always been supportive of me going ever since, you know, I was in elementary school. And without that constant kind of push and, you know, reinforcement, you know, it's hard to say if I would have ended up here. So thanks, Mom and Dad. And then the rest of my family as well. I've never had a moment where I had to think, man, you know, I really don't have anybody supporting me. That's because even though states apart, I always know I can call anybody in my family, and at minimum, just have somebody to talk to. You know, you guys are always there to boost my spirits, give me a little bit of pep in my step, and tell me, you know, guide me down the right path. So I appreciate everything you guys have done for me, and you know, I hope all the work and investment paid off. Thanks again.
Mario, Edgar, and to my best friend Jared.
Cloud, Hernandez, and Garcia, a very happy commissioning.
Congratulations for graduating, and congratulations on commissioning. For my short time as a lieutenant, I have just a couple of words of wisdom to pass on to you.
I know myself and the rest of us in 2020, we're very proud to see you guys commission. Can't wait to see the awesome things you guys do for this Army. Enjoy this day with your families. I sure did.
I don't necessarily like to read, but since I've commissioned, reading has helped me a lot to understand doctrine and develop who I am as a leader. When you are in front of your formations, always give a why. Explain your reasoning, and it will give your mission purpose, and it will help your soldiers understand the mission that they are tasked with.
And definitely taking this moment and celebrating. I wish you guys a happy commissioning.
Once again, congratulations, good luck at Bullock, and I hope to see you all soon.
Taylor and Melendrez, you guys are up next. Wildcats lead the way.
Wildcats lead the way.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 2021 Central Washington University Wildcat Battalion Winter Commissioning Ceremony. This ceremony will be recorded for future viewing on Facebook and YouTube. I am Miss Alicia Falk, your narrator for today's event. The official party for this morning's ceremony includes Central Washington University's President, Dr. James Godino, Central Washington University's Provost, Dr. Michelle Denbest, CWU's College of Education and Professional Studies Interim Dean, Dr. Heidi Henschel-Pillay, retired Army Colonel Kevin DeWeber, Professor of Military Science, Lieutenant Colonel Bonnie Kovach, CWU's Air Force ROTC Detachment Commander, Lieutenant Colonel Michael Morris, incoming Wildcat Battalion Professor of Military Science, Major Joseph Paolilli, Assistant Professor of Military Science, Captain Jamar Imperial, retired Air Force Master Sergeant Ed Lynette, as well as other distinguished members of the Central Washington University community, and of course, the Winter Commissioning Class of 2021. I would first like to acknowledge and thank Cadet Dylan Sampson for his incredible work on the opening video. Thank you, Cadet Sampson. At this time, we ask that you please rise for the invocation given by First Lieutenant Lacey Myers, class of 2018, and please remain standing for the playing of the national anthem.
Let us pray. Father God, be with us now as we honor these graduates. This is a time of celebration for a task completed and a job well done. We thank you for the opportunities you have given to these cadets and for the response they have made to better their careers by pursuing challenges appropriate with their interests and abilities. We also are grateful for their patience, understanding, and concern of those who supported them through their studies. The encouragement of family members and friends contributes so much to one's success. And now, bless this special occasion and all who are present. Amen.
Thank you, Lieutenant Myers. You may be seated. At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce Central Washington University President, Dr. James Godino.
Thank you, and welcome to all of our cadets and all of their families and friends and those who support them on this this incredible day. This is a this is a day that you as young officers think you know the significance of, excuse me, but the reality is you don't. It's going to sink into you over time, and every day that you live and that you are able to reflect back on the achievements that we are signifying today through this commissioning ceremony will grow in the importance. The friends that you have made, the friends that you are going to make in the service of your country will remain your friends throughout your life. Now, I bring messages from the Board of Trustees, congratulations on what you are doing. And I want to give you just a little insight in the way that I view this. And for some of you who know me know that I was commissioned as an officer in the United States Air Force in 1972, and I can remember every moment of that commissioning ceremony as if it was yesterday. I can remember the cadet that was on my left and the cadet that was on my right, and the officer that gave us the oath, and when we raised our right hands. But this is something that is going to stay with you, and I want you to. I wish we could do this face to face. I wish we could all be in Lind Hall or in the Sue Lombard ballroom, and so that we can shake your hand and we can look at the smiles on your faces. Unfortunately, COVID doesn't allow us to do that. But by graduating from a university with a bachelor's degree, you join the upper 25% of the people in this one of the most educated countries in the world. So just by graduating with a bachelor's degree from Central Washington University, you distinguish yourself as among the best. Most of you, I suspect all of you during your time of service, will go on to get a master's degree. That puts you in the top 10% of the of educated people in the United States. But I want to put into perspective that in a couple of months, we'll be graduating 3,000 Wildcats that will enter our alumni association with degrees from Central Washington University. And today we're commissioning less than 1% of that. So you truly have distinguished yourself as the best of the best. And I would say, go one step farther too. I think it was Lieutenant Cloud who said, and many of you talked about the achievement of the Ranger Challenge and how that was kind of one of the highlights of your career, because it was the hardest thing you'd ever done, and you did it, and you did it well. And I think all of you know that it was only about 6-7 years ago now that you set for yourself as cadets, those who came before you set the goal of competing regionally in the challenge and winning that regional competition. And of course, Wildcats do lead the way, because you not only competed regionally and won, you ended up going to Sandhurst at West Point, at the West Point competition in the Sandhurst Cup, and you took the #1 honors in the world for Ranger competition. And in doing so, you scored the highest number of points that had ever been scored in the Ranger competition at Sandhurst. So you truly are the best of the best of the best. And in a few moments, and I will get out of the way, because this program is not about me or the comments that I want to share. This is about you. In a few moments, you will raise your hand and you will swear an oath to defend and preserve the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That is an oath that until you make it, you do not realize the full significance, the impact that it has on you. I know many of you are right now thinking about putting those, as we said, brown bars on your shoulders and going off to your first posting. But I have to tell you, the oath that you're taking today and the experience that you are putting a cap on today has no expiration date. Just like your degree is awarded for your life, the oath that you take today, you will feel and you will honor for the rest of your life. So I want to be among the first to congratulate you on your degrees, on your commissioning, and I want to thank you for the service, and I want to wish you all the best for the rest of your time, and I want to say to you all, Godspeed. Thank you all for your service.
Thank you, President Godino, for joining us today and giving us some of your valuable time. Please welcome Central Washington University's Professor of Military Science, Lieutenant Colonel Bonnie Kovach.
Good morning. President Godino, Provost and Best, Dean Henschel Pillay, Lieutenant Colonel Morris, Major Paolilli, other distinguished guests, family and friends of the Wildcat Battalion, welcome to this morning's ceremony. President Gaudino, thank you for your service and for your continued support of the ROTC programs here at Central Washington University. I'd like to first recognize the parents, grandparents, family, and friends of today's commissionees. On behalf of the Secretary of the Army, thank you. Thank you for laying a foundation for these young men. Choosing to serve in the military is an unselfish decision, and only the kind made by people nurtured in environments where responsibility, loyalty, and service matter. Our military service demands those qualities, and we have you to thank for being their first and best examples. Cadets Cloud and Garcia, it has been my honor and privilege to serve as your professor of military science. I have learned a great deal from working with both of you. Garcia, you have been a fantastic teammate. From you, I have learned the value of an optimistic demeanor on mission accomplishment. Regardless of setting or challenge, whether during a field training exercise, as the cadet battalion personnel officer, in our classroom discussions, or in watching you manage state activation orders in response to COVID-19, you have only ever demonstrated steadfast, positive leadership. You are a reassuring presence without negotiating standards. That's really impressive. And your growth has been so neat to watch. Peers are arguably one of the most difficult groups to lead. Cadet Cloud, watching you lead your peers has taught me a great deal about humility, accountability, and vision. There was a point last spring where you were still serving as the cadet battalion commander, and our country was facing some hard truths about racism and beginning to realize the enormity of COVID-19. As a result, we had to change the way we did and thought about everything: recruiting, training, esprit de corps. This after numerous other issues, losses, and setbacks during fall and winter quarters. At one point, you and I joked about an alien invasion being the only challenge we'd yet to face together. Yet from day one, you would communicate a true belief in the greatness, the capability, and the capacity of your peers. This belief wasn't in words alone. It structured the actions you took, your communications, and the efforts you pursued in fulfilling that vision. I am so proud of the work that we did together, and I am excited for the soldiers you are about to lead. Gentlemen, you are receiving your commissions at a moment of extraordinary challenge for our society and our wider world. You are committing yourself to be leaders, courageous leaders, and you have chosen to lead in an institution that gives you very special responsibilities and opportunities in face of the troubles confronting us at home and abroad. Today, in honoring you, in celebrating your achievements and giving thanks to your commitment, we can clearly see the role you play in the world. Your commission and graduation happened the same week that we saw the murder of 8 innocent women. Atlanta's tragic loss underscores the purpose of your years of study and training at this incredible institution. Today, you join the ranks of those whose mission it is to guard freedom and protect the innocent from such terror. The innocent noted in the Wildcat Battalion vision as those courageous leaders who reach their full potential. Courageous leaders are never quiet about hard things. And the hard fact is that while your merit as a leader may be tested in combat in defense of our Constitution, it will certainly be tested in the stewardship of your formations, particularly around sexual harassment and assault, racism, extremism, and suicide. We must never permit fear, hate, entitlement, and isolation to warp our sense of duty or expectations of integrity and respect. The selflessness involved in your commitment to protect and defend others is an important lesson in trust. And in the course of your training, you have, I know, already learned a great deal about the connections among service, trust, and leadership. And as officers, you'll be ready to use and expand on these lessons. May you sustain the trust vested in you and continue to provide others with a model of the intertwined nature of leadership, service, and sacrifice. Your disciplined dedication to something greater than yourself has inspired the admiration of many around you and in the CWU community. We are deeply grateful to you for that and for the way you, as scholar soldiers and courageous servant leaders, will inspire us in the years to come. As your professor of military science, at least for a couple of more minutes, I need to demand one more great thing of you, and that's to not forget the Wildcat Battalion, specifically the bonds you formed while a member of this team. Because it was you, gentlemen, who taught me that to be a Wildcat means you are part of a family. Captain Jamar Imperial may be the newest member of the military science department cadre, but he is a proud Wildcat alumnus, class of 2012, and no stranger to the Wildcat Battalion. He commissioned that year as a transportation officer in the Washington Army National Guard, and his professional accomplishments to date are impressive. As part of Karis Strike, Captain Imperial trained members of the Malaysian Army on chemical, biological, radioactive, and nuclear decontamination practices. He has served in response to the wildfires that plague our state. He has deployed to Jordan, where he led his unit to provide security and strategic logistic support to US service members and our partners. And most recently, Captain Imperial was activated as part of the 10th Homeland Response Force in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Captain Imperial has already made a deep impression on this battalion and models courageous leadership. And it makes me happy to welcome him back to the Wildcat Battalion, Captain Jamar Imperial.
Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel Kovac, for giving me the opportunity to speak to our guests for our winter commissioning class. Families, friends, distinguished guests, and newly commissioned lieutenants, I want to thank you for taking your time to listen to me speak today. It is an honor to be chosen to speak to you today because I was in your shoes 9 years ago. I'm an alumni here at Central Washington University and commissioned with a great program in 2012. Since then, I've served as a platoon leader, executive officer, S1 officer, and recently just completed my command with Delta Company 141 BSB. I've been part of many domestic operations, conducted training with Malaysian Army, and deployed in the Middle East. I spent 90% of my time in line units, which you're about to enter. And let me tell you, it's been the best time of my career. After commissioning, I remember the feeling accomplishing something so big, I could not believe I was an officer in the United States Army. A young man that immigrated to the US from the Philippines at the age of 7 now held the rank of lieutenant. Your story might be similar to mine or completely different. Regardless of your background today, it is a big day for all of you. You are becoming an officer in the Army. Be proud of what you have accomplished because you will soon complete your basic officer leader course. And after that, you will take the responsibility of leading the sons and daughters of our great nation. You will be responsible for leading soldiers that come from different parts of the country and even different parts of the world. Leading the soldiers of America is a privilege, not a right. Do your best to lead them down a righteous path. Care for them, not as a friend, but as their mentor and leader. You'll come to realize that there's more than one way to solve a problem. Your idea might not be the best one, but the decision needs to be made. That decision is yours to make. Regardless of the opinion of other officers or your soldiers, you need to make that decision. That decision, make sure that doesn't negatively impact your soldiers' livelihood, but at the same time, ensure the success of the organization. I usually don't talk much. I do more of executing the task at hand, so I'm almost done, so bear with me. If anything, I want you to remember these 5 things that I'm about to tell you. These things have been pivotal in my development as an officer and a soldier. You can be a quitter or you're a soldier. You cannot be both. Don't focus on the problem, but rather focus on finding a solution to that problem. If there is an obstacle in your way, don't stop. Go around it or even jump over it. A great quote from Colin Powell that I've incorporated into my leadership philosophy is, leadership is solving problems. The day soldiers stop bringing you their problems is the day you have stopped leading them. They have either lost confidence that you can help or concluded you don't care. Either case is a failure of leadership. Number 2, do the right thing even it's hard, and be fair at all times. There will be a time that you will need to make a decision. And you may not like the choices, but it is your job to make the right decision. Your soldiers will watch everything you do and will start acting like you. Do not be the officer that is too good to count brass or do the dirty work. Getting in there with them will help soldiers respect you as an individual and not just because of your rank. Never give your soldiers an order that you are not willing to do first. Number 3, be brilliant in the basics. Identify your weakness and master them. You'll fail at least once or twice, and if you're like me, multiple times. But be honest, learn from it, and move on. I remember all my failures more than the things that I succeeded in, because it made me stronger as a leader and a person. Be like Rocky. Keep getting up and fight on. Number 4, execute your mission and tasks to the best of your ability. But don't sacrifice the well-being of your soldiers for glory. Empower your NCOs to lead soldiers. We have the greatest NCO corps in the world, and I believe we are the best at what we do because of them. We don't call them the backbone of the Army for no reason. I'm sure you'll hear this in your career, but I will tell you now, do not go anywhere without your NCO. Last, the 5th one is Lieutenant Colonel Osmer told me this as my commander before we deployed. Do not do anything in your career that would dishonor your family, your unit, and the United States Army. With that, I hope you can remember those 5 things. And thank you for listening to me today. I hope what I told you will help you in your careers, and I wish you both the very best. If you ever need anything, please reach out. We are a Wildcat family. We take care of each other. Wildcats lead the way.
Thank you, Captain Imperial, for your very kind words. Designation as a distinguished military graduate is a special honor, awarded to the top 20% of commissioning cadets nationwide. Distinguished military graduates exhibit an aptitude for military service and are ranked in the upper third of their ROTC class and the upper half of their university class. They have demonstrated outstanding qualities of leadership and high moral character. This year's Distinguished Military Graduate Certificate is awarded to Cadet Jared Cloud. In addition to being recognized as a distinguished military graduate, Cadet Cloud was also nominated by the Wildcat Battalion to receive the AT&T Veterans Washington State Chapter Recognition Award. The AT&T philosophy that guides their brand is Rethink Possible. Cadets nominated to receive this award are recognized for their ability to accomplish tasks that require thinking outside of the box. Cadet Cloud, congratulations. You've been nothing but a mentor and a great friend to this Wildcat Battalion. Both of those honors are well-deserved, so congratulations. The military traditions observed today begin with the oath of office. In the profession of arms, as in others, sworn oaths are taken very seriously. In the military, lives depend on a leader's given word. The word of an Army professional must be and remain above reproach. The commissioning oath is the most sacred promise that officers make. It is the platform from which they serve our country. Lieutenant Colonel Kovach will now administer the Federal Commissioning Oath of Office to the cadets.
All right, you gentlemen ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Raise your right hand, repeat after me. I state your full name.
I, Mario Jesse Garcia,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely,
that I take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties of the office upon which I'm about to enter.
the duties of the office on which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, gentlemen.
Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel Kovacs. Officers commissioned into the Army National Guard take an additional oath. These officers are additionally committed to the governors of their state. Captain Imperial will administer the oath to Cadet Garcia entering the Army National Guard.
Raise your right hand. I state your name.
I, Mario Jesse Garcia,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
to help support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Washington
and the Constitution of the State of Washington
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States
that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States
and the Governor of the State of Washington,
and the Governor of the State of Washington,
that I make this obligation freely
that I make this obligation freely
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties of the office of Second Lieutenant in the Army,
of the duties of the office of Second Lieutenant in the Army,
Guard of the State of Washington,
Guard in the State of Washington,
which I'm about to enter.
in which I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congrats.
Thank you, sir.
The military is an organization built on its traditions, such as those we observe during the playing of the national anthem, or the respects we pay when the flag is retired at the end of the day. In welcoming these newly commissioned officers to our nation's Army, on a day that marks the beginning of their journey, they will honor such traditions that date as far back as the 19th century. It is one such tradition that allows for each officer to select a person or persons to attach the second lieutenant rank on their uniform. Once affixed, they will participate in what is known as the Silver Dollar Salute, a long-standing tradition where the newly appointed second lieutenant will receive their first salute from a non-commissioned officer who has been instrumental in their growth and development. The exchange of the silver dollar from officer to NCO symbolically acknowledges the receipt of respect due to the new rank and position. Today, we welcome 2 new lieutenants into our Army. I would additionally like to take a moment to recognize Cadet Edgar Hernandez, who was meant to be with us here today. However, due to unforeseen circumstances, will commission at a separate ceremony in the near future. Our first commissionee is Jared Evan Gregory Cloud. Second Lieutenant Cloud will attend the Infantry Basic Officer Leadership course at Fort Benning, Georgia, from 14 November 2021 to 13 April 2022. His first duty station will be determined post-basic course graduation. Pinning on his rank will be his parents, Pamela and Todd Cloud. At this time, Second Lieutenant Cloud will now receive his first salute from his childhood friend, Corporal Jeffrey Jackson of the 2nd Battalion, 7th Marines. Congratulations, Second Lieutenant Cloud. The next commissionee is Mario Jesse Garcia. Second Lieutenant Garcia will attend the Infantry Basic Officer Leadership course at Fort Benning, Georgia from 06 February 2022 to 21 June 2022. He will be serving with the 1st Detachment HHC 10161 Infantry Battalion, Yakima, Washington, as a part of the Washington Army National Guard. Pinning on his rank will be his friend, Taylor Royce.
Stay. Oh no. No. Why she's here?
Thank you, Taylor Royce. Second Lieutenant Garcia will now receive his first salute from his mentor, Sergeant First Class Buddy Edwards of the 1041st Transportation Company, Washington Army National Guard.
Thank you, Sergeant.
Congratulations, Second Lieutenant Garcia. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you, the Winter Commissioning Class of 2021. The Soldier's Creed is a standard by which all United States Army personnel are expected to live. Unlike the oath of office all these officers have just taken, the Soldier's Creed is not legally binding, but is equally significant to each of us who wear the uniform to understand what it means to be a professional and a member of the profession of arms. As a testament to these officers' preparation of their successors, MS3 Cadet William Bafaro will now recite the Soldier's Creed.
I'm an American soldier. I'm a warrior and a member of a team. I serve the people of the United States and live the Army values. I will always place the mission first. I will never accept defeat. I will never quit. I will never leave a fallen comrade. I'm disciplined, physically and mentally tough, trained and proficient in my warrior tasks and drills. I will always maintain my arms, my equipment, and myself. I'm an expert and I'm a professional. I stand ready to deploy, engage, and destroy the enemies of the United States of America in close combat. I'm a guardian of freedom and the American way of life. I'm an American soldier.
Thank you, Cadet Bafaro. At this time, please rise and join us in singing the Army song and remain standing for the benediction.
March along. Count the brave, count the true, who have fought to victory. We're the Army and proud of our name. We're the Army and proudly proclaim. First to fight for the right and to build the nation's might, and the Army goes rolling along. Proud of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won, and the Army goes rolling along. And it's high, high, hey, the Army's on its way. Count off and pages loud and strong. So wherever we go, you will always know that the
Lieutenant Myers, would you please give the benediction?
Let us pray. Almighty God, be with these newly commissioned lieutenants now as they go forth, confident in the skills to take on their new responsibilities. May they take upon themselves the same sense of devotion and loyalty that our American fighting men and women have shown throughout history. Help them to be worthy of our nation's trust, and always, Lord, walk with them and go before them. Lead them humbly along the path you have set before them. We ask this in your holy name. Amen.
Thank you, Lieutenant Myers. Today's gathering is unlike the traditional ceremony we hold to recognize the accomplishments of these new second lieutenants. The events of the last year have changed what it means to be together. As we gaze through our screens at these two new lieutenants, we send well wishes and congratulations in the forms of words in a chat box. That hug or high five, now in the form of emojis. But your virtual presence, however, shows your desire to send these lieutenants off to a good start, and we can be with them in our thoughts and prayers. I ask at this time, as we conclude today's ceremony, for all family members, friends, distinguished guests who gathered here today to witness this momentous occasion, please turn on your camera or type words of congratulations in the chat box so these young lieutenants can see the overwhelming amount of support, even if through a screen. This concludes the 2021 Central Washington University Army ROTC Winter Commissioning Ceremony. Thank you all for joining us this morning, and congratulations to our winter commissioning class of 2021. Wildcats lead the way.
Congrats, Mario.
You too, brother. We did it. See you next time, sir.
Congrats, Jared.
Don't have too much fun with Bullock, okay?
Congrats, gentlemen.
Congrats to both of you guys. You deserve it.
Thanks, Uncle.
Sorry, man. I don't know how to video. Congratulations.
Mario, love you. Love you, Mario. Love you, Mario. You did it. I love you, son.
Thanks, Mom.
Love you. Love you.
Love y'all too.
Would have been there.
Thank y'all. Really appreciate y'all being here.
Congratulations, Jared.
Oh,
Congratulations, you guys.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Jared.
Congratulations, Jared.